Welcome to Yester Quickies, a speedy culinary trip back in time. Today we're traveling to 1961 to discover Chicken Divan. You're gonna love it. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Jill and this is Yester Kitchen. I've got another quickie for you. So today is all about Chicken Divan, and I want to thank Andrew C. for making the request. I love requests. This is such a great dish. It's easy, it's classic, and it is delicious. And unlike many dishes that we've made, there is one story and we know it's true. So there's not 2 or 3 stories, there's no fuzzy history. We know exactly where Chicken Divan came from. So Chicken Divan is not a French dish, but it was created in a French restaurant. It was created at the Divan Parisian restaurant at the Chatham Hotel in New York City in the very early 1900s. The creator was Chef Anthony Lagasse, and before you start asking me, he's not related to our Chef Emerald. They spell their names completely different. But this recipe was kept a secret from the chef. He didn't tell anybody. So the Chicken Divan we know today is based on the best guesses of the Hotel Maitre'D. Is that cool? But it's pretty accurate. So let's get started and I'll explain a little more as we go. So the first thing we're gonna need is 3 chicken breasts, and you wanna poach them, which is what I've already done. And don't worry, I've got you covered. I will put the directions right down below, super easy. Okay, so I've already cut 2 of them, but I just want to show you how we cut them. You don't want to cut them like that, and you don't want to cut them like that. You want to cut them into length that kind of goes the width of the chicken, like that. So you have some beautiful slices right off the breast, and that way it'll lay beautifully in your casserole. So I'm just going to finish this up really quick, and I think I've got one more to go. And always be careful when handling knives that are going toward you. Okay, there we go. This is what you want. So I'm gonna get this out of the way and I'm gonna bring in the star of the show. Okay, here's the first star of the show. There's a couple. I have here broccoli spears in a casserole dish. Now, if you want, you can cook broccoli from fresh, but of course we like easy here at Yester Kitchen, so I bought frozen broccoli spears, and frozen vegetables are fantastic. They are frozen right after they're picked. So I went ahead and cooked them, and you lay them really pretty, kind of with the flowers on the outside of a casserole dish. Now it's time to make our sauce. So give me a second to get this out of the way, and I will introduce you to our pot that's gonna make a gorgeous, perfect sauce for this. Now, here's our pot. I have in here 1/4 cup of butter, which is a half a stick, and you want it to melt. Once it melts, you want to add 1/4 cup of flour, and you want to just stir that right around so all the flour soaks up all the butter. And you want to stir it for just and by the way, a whisk is perfect for this. And you want to stir for an extra few minutes because you want that raw flour taste to cook out. It only takes a minute. And now we're pretty good. So this, as we've done many times before, is called a roux. It's where fat and flour gets together, and you cook it, and it's going to act as a thickening agent for our sauce. So I'm going to pour in our next ingredient, and I'm going to tell you what kind of sauce we're going to make. So the next thing we need is 2 cups of chicken broth, and in it goes, and you want to whisk it up so it starts incorporating that flour. And then we're going to just cook this until it thickens up. So what kind of sauce are we making? So we are making a bechamel sauce. And a bechamel sauce is, and stick with me, a bechamel sauce is a very, it's a white sauce. It could be thin, medium, or thick. It all depends. It has milk and butter and flour, and that's it. It's one of our mother sauces. And it depends on the thickness is how much flour you add. So we're gonna get kind of a decently thick sauce. So give me a minute. I'm gonna let this thicken up and we will come back. Okay, so it only took a few minutes, but our sauce has started to thicken up. As you can see the tracks of my whisk in there. And that's how you know it's about a medium thickness, which is just what we want. Now I know you're saying, hey, you told me this was a milk sauce. Where's the milk? It's gonna happen right now. We're gonna add 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Oh yeah, gotta have cream. This is the 60s after all. Then we've got a 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon pepper. If you have white pepper, go ahead and use it. But I know a lot of you don't, including yours truly, so we're just gonna use regular pepper. And of course, the magic, 3 tablespoons of sherry. I might have added a little more. And now we're gonna whisk this up and we're gonna take it on to the next step. So this is a bechamel sauce. A Mornay sauce is when you take a bechamel sauce and add cheese. We're gonna add 1 layer of bechamel, and then we're gonna turn it into a Mornay sauce and top it off. So let me get our broccoli and our chicken back in here, and I will be right back. Okay, our broccoli is back, and before I go any further, I want to show you we're going to be revisiting. This is where the recipe came from. We're revisiting one of my favorites. Better Homes and Gardens Casserole Cookbook, 1961, pure absolute gold. They had 2 recipes for Chicken Divan in here. One is classic, which is what we're making, and one is a quickie, which turned into like a curry-based sauce. But we're going to go classic because Andrew asked for it, so we're going to make exactly, hopefully, what he wants. Okay, how you doing, Andrew? We're doing good so far? All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our broccoli, and you are gonna take half of your sauce, and you're gonna ladle it right over the broccoli, just half, because remember what I said, we're gonna turn the second half into a Mornay. So there's our bechamel. And now, really, really quick, like a bunny, and I love bunnies, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup Parmesan cheese right into the sauce. Now I will tell you that classic bechamel sauce had Gruyere, and you are welcome to use it. This particular recipe called for Parmesan cheese, and so who am I to mess with the cookbook? So we are doing Parmesan cheese. Both will be equally as delicious. Okay, our Parmesan is all set in there, it's all melted. So we're gonna put that aside. And now in comes our chicken. All our little chicken slices, we're just gonna kind of put them right on top. This is, guys, this is such a classic dish. I can't even begin to tell you. And by the way, the Divan Parisian restaurant no longer exists. And I will tell you, it was very common back then to name dishes that were created in restaurants after the restaurant, which is why this is called Chicken Divan. The more you know, the more you know. Okay. This is good. Look at this, perfect chicken. All right, now give me 1 second and I'll get back to the sauce. Okay, now it's time to get our bechamel turned Mornay back, and we're gonna pour the rest of it all over the chicken. Look how gorgeous this is. And by the way, Chicken Divan was so popular in the 50s and 60s. Why? Well, first of all, people were in love with French cooking of any sort. And so there was that, and then of course there was fancy dining and pressure guests, which is just, this is something that would fill the bill anytime. Now the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sprinkle maybe about a 1/4 cup, maybe a little less, of Parmesan cheese right on the top. Don't go overboard. This just requires a little sprinkle, so if you don't use up all your cheese, save it for your spaghetti. Okay, I have a 350, I still have some left over. I have a 350 oven ready to go. Now remember, everything is cooked, so it really just has to be warmed through and kind of brought together. So we are gonna cook this, we're gonna bake this for 20 minutes, then we're gonna turn off the oven, turn on the broiler, and put this right under the broiler just until golden brown. You gotta babysit it, don't let it burn, and we will be right back when we have classic Chicken Divan. Out of the broiler, and look at this, beautifully golden brown, gorgeous, the French dish that really isn't a French dish, and thanks to one very clever Maitre'D, we have this recipe. And in the 60s, everybody was making French food. I mean, where do you think Julia Child got her start and why she rose so quickly? Anyway, I have got to dig into this, so I've got my trusty plate because it is lunchtime. And you're just gonna wanna find those chicken slices. Where are they? Here we go. And can't forget the broccoli because that is definitely the Divan part. And look at that. Chicken Divan, which is pretty much chicken, broccoli, cheese sauce. So much happiness. I can't wait. It is lunchtime. So thank you so much, Andrew, for your request. This was absolutely wonderful. And you have to know about Chicken Divan. If you have a request, I would love to hear it. 2 things to know. My request list is very long and I record way in advance. So patience, but if I can do your dish, I absolutely will. Thanks for stopping by. It's always such an honor to have you join me. Enjoy eating the past and I will see you in the next video.